Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome to a Book Haul Revisited video. For anyone who is new here, I film one of these bi-monthly where I talk about the books that I acquired 12 months earlier and I let you know if I've read them, if I haven't read them, if I've kept them and unhauled them. I read a lot of kids books as well, so sometimes those go into work. This is sort of an accountability video for me as well because any books that are unread, I try and read them in the next 2 months. So this is my Book Haul Revisited video for May and June 2020. I have a lot of books that I'm going to show you. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them because if I've read them, I already have reviews up on my channel. You can just do a bit of a search for my channel name and the book and it will most likely come up. I do have categories for all of these, so we'll move through them in order. So the first category is the Unhauled Unread books. So these are the books that I didn't end up reading and I got rid of. And this month I happen to have 5 of them. The first one is Wicked Bite by Jeannine Frost. I did read the first book in this sort of series spin-off and I decided not to continue the series, so I just got rid of this book. I also have the Dictionary of Lost Words, which I just decided I was no longer interested in reading, so I have passed that on. That one I think was by Pip Williams, maybe. There was Love Unscripted, and I've completely forgotten who wrote this one, but I'll leave a picture of it on the screen. I had heard some mixed things about it, and I wasn't all that interested in picking it up anyway. The same thing goes for You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. I actually had 2 copies of this, and I got rid of both of them in the end. I just wasn't planning on reading it. And finally, there was an early release of Feather, which I'll have to look up the name of the author for this one. That came in a book subscription box and I just decided I wasn't going to read it. So I've cleared those out and they've already gone to new homes where people will hopefully enjoy them. My next section is the read and unhauled category. So these are books that I did read, but I have cleared off my shelves just because they're either books that I'm not planning on rereading or things that I didn't enjoy as much. I like to make sure that the books that stay on my shelves are the ones that I absolutely love. But these ones were just okay for me. The first one on this list was Better Luck Next Time by Kate Hilton, which was a contemporary fiction story that was about 3 generations of women, I believe, in a family. It was a fun read. I have since passed that on to friends who I know will enjoy it. And that one was a review copy from Allen and Unwin. And then also from Allen and Unwin, I had a review copy of Again by E. Lockhart, which is a young adult story, which I read and struggled with a little bit. Very interesting story and very interesting concept. I just struggled a lot with it. That one has since been passed on as well. I have cleared out Shades of Wicked by Jeannine Frost. This was the first book in that series that I wasn't planning on continuing. I don't mind Jeannine Frost, but her stories are not ones that grip me. So the longer I sat on it, I just knew I wasn't going to continue. So both of those books have been passed on. I also cleared out True Life by J. Kristoff, plus the first 2 books in the series. I enjoyed the series, but I won't be rereading it. So that's gone. And also The Switch. Now this one is a little bit different because I really enjoyed this book, but I did give it to my mum because I know that she would love it. So I have read it and I've given it to her. All right, then we come to all of the books that I read and kept. And there's 29 or 30 of them in this list. I think it's possibly 29. I did have a stack of review copies in these 2 months. One of them was the Marvel Studios Part of a Bigger Universe. This is a book of quotes from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is a gorgeous hardback book. And also from Scholastic, I had Shuri by Nick Stone. So this was a Marvel story featuring Shuri, who is just a delightful character in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I really enjoyed this one. Rick by Alex Gino. I adore Alex Gino's writing. George is one of my all-time favorite middle grade books, so I knew that I had to read Alex Gino's newest book. Then there is Hold Back the Tide by Melinda Salisbury. Again, this was from Scholastic, and this was a delightfully creepy young adult story. I was not expecting it to be as creepy as it is because you have monsters coming out of a lake to attack a village. So it's very creepy. And then the final review copy that I had was from Allen and Unwin, and that was Red Sea Spies by Rafi Berg, which is based off the true story of the fake diving resort the Mossad had in the early 1980s off the Sudan coast. This was a really fascinating story to read about because I had no idea about it. There is also a Netflix adaptation with Chris Evans as well. And then coming to things that I bought, I have my Guide to Essential Oils book, which I look at very, very regularly as I'm putting my diffuser on. So this is a really handy reference book because it has a lot of information about individual essential oils as well as a section on recipes and blends at the back. The Deck of Omens by Christine Lynn Herman. Aurora Burning by Amie, Kaufman and J. Kristoff, which is the 2nd book in the Aurora cycle. The Oracle Code by Marieke Nijkamp, which is a comic story all about Oracle, Barbara Gordon. one of my favorite characters of all time. Network Effect by Martha Wells, which was book 5 in the Murderbot Diary series and the first full-length novel. And then we come to all of the books that I read that really show this is where my obsession with romance books really kicked in 2020. I have the first 2 books in Kristen Callahan's VIP series. So there is Idle and Managed. This is one of my all-time favorite romance books. It is a Grumpy Sunshine story and I love it. Rockstar Romance, this one is about the manager of the band from the first book. I have Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey. This is the second book in the Hot and Hammered series. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Beach Read by Emily Henry, which I know is not strictly a straight up romance and people have mixed feelings about this one. I really enjoyed it because it was a really interesting blend of genres, but it is not strictly romance. So if you haven't read it but are planning on reading it, go into it knowing that. Well Met by Jen DeLuca, again, one of my favorite stories. Grumpy Sunshine. I should really do a Grumpy Sunshine video because that's my favorite kind of trope to read in romance books apparently. I also picked up a UK copy of The Hating Game by Sally Thorne and also 99% Mine by Sally Thorne because I was supporting an Australian author. I also acquired the first 4 books in Katee Roberts' Wicked Villain series. So there is Desperate Measures, Learn My Lesson, which is my favorite, A Worthy Opponent, and The Beast. I also bought Slave to Sensation by Nalini Singh because I didn't have it in hard copy at the time, and also Angels of Darkness, which is an anthology of 4 stories featuring angels. You have Ilona Andrews, Nalini Singh, Mel Jean Brooke, and Sharon Shin in this collection. I also have the first 4 books from the Girl Meets Duke series by Tessa Dares. So there is The Duchess Deal, The Governess Game, and The Wallflower Wager. Also 2 books by Sarah MacLean. So there was Wicked and the Wallflower and Brazen and the Beast. Next, there were 6 books that I read and took to work. So there is Bin Chicken by Kate and Joel Temple. This was a review copy from Scholastic. There was Who Am I by Anita Heiss, which was a middle grade story about an Indigenous girl and was just a fantastic read. I also had another book called Who Am I, this time by Philip Bunting. This was a picture book and this one was a non-fiction picture book. There was Tippy and Jellybean, and I've just mentally blanked on the name of the author of this book, but I'll put a picture of it on the screen. This one was about the Australian bushfires at the end of 2019, start of 2020, from the perspective of a koala and its baby. And it's based off a real koala and its baby called Tippy and Jellybean. I also read another picture book called Not Cute by Philip Bunting. This one is just a hilarious story about a quokka who is a bit too big for its britches. And also Dharma the Llama by Matt Cosgrove, which is an offshoot of the Macca the Alpaca books. And this one is all about Dharma, who is a llama who loves to read. Which brings me to the 3 books that I did not read from May and June 2020. The first one is a middle grade book, and that is Seasons of War by Derek Landy. This is, I can't even remember which book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, but I need to read it. And then I have 2 books by Amanda Boucher that include Night Chaser and Starbreaker. And I think I got those in the right order, but I may not have. So these are sci-fi romance stories, and really they've been blurbed by Nalini Singh, so I really should read it. So those are all of the books that I acquired in May and June 2020. I'm pretty pleased with how many I have actually read and how many I have left to read. Hopefully I will get to those ones sooner rather than later. If you've read any of these books, feel free to let me know in the comments, or let me know if you're planning on reading them in the future. If you want to let me know that you were here but you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to leave a book stack emoji in the comments. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.